Hi and hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Neema and welcome to Here is Neema, where we talk about all things fashion, beauty, lifestyle, feminine essence, feminine energy, self-love, and development. I have hiccups. I'm so sorry, but the show must go on, right? So that's really annoying. Like, I hope that it doesn't distract you too much during the video. I've got my water here and my wine. Let me grab this. Yeah, let's take a sip, shall we? Okay. This video is titled, and of course will be about the whole topic of Love is Blind season 3, and essentially not wanting men who don't want us. I know you probably, if you are a Love is Blind fan just like I am, which I've watched all of them. I've watched season 1, 2, 3. I watched The Ultimatum. Like, everything that those people have come out with, I've watched it pretty much at this point. So kind of interesting, kind of exciting, whatnot. So my message today is pretty cut and dry, pretty plain and simple. Sorry for the hiccups. Again, I'm going to try to just get through the video, guys. But not wanting men who don't want you. Like, it sounds so simple. It sounds so easy. But clearly it is not. And, you know, I know that when you really do care about someone, you really do love someone or like someone, it can be challenging. Obviously, in the Nancy and Bartiz situation and the Zainab and Cole situation, things went awry. I also want to talk about something in this video that I will start to call deep D mindset. The deep D mindset, because as we all know, season 2, Deep D was all of our girl. I mean, she was that girl. She was that girl. She really conducted herself in such an amazing way, with just so much class and so much dignity. You know, even though she really was put in a position with Shake in that relationship where she could have really acted out. She could have really turned things upside down and really made it like a whole big, you know, scene, and way bigger and blown up than it actually was. But she just conducted herself in such an amazing way, and you know, you could tell that she just had self-love, so much self-love and so much self-confidence. And I think that the deep D mindset is what was missing for the girls, Nancy and of course Zainab, and even Raven, if I'm being honest, you know, in season 3. And you know, just back to the point of this whole video, not wanting men who don't want you. Like, when someone says no to you at the altar, and I'm so sorry, like, I understand that this is an experiment. I understand that like a lot of elements took place up to the point where they had their weddings, but these are all beautiful women. These are all very accomplished women. These are all women that have, honestly, like, the world at their feet, options, you know, galore, whether it feels like it or not. Obviously, you don't always feel like that, you know, as a woman. You know, even if you are young and beautiful and educated and whatnot, you are a total catch. You don't always feel like, oh my God, okay, like the options are there for me. Granted, totally fair, totally get it, literally get it. But to go on that show and to just be, you know, put in situations in these relationships with these men that are literally disrespecting you, not only to your face, but in front of the entire world, not even the whole nation, not even the whole country, the world. And to continue to, you know, like, try to piece things together and try and make amends and try and just, you know, have a relationship and try and make it work, quote unquote, and things like that, and basically live delusional in La La Land. Not to say that that happened with Raven and SK's relationship. That's a whole different story. I'll get into that in a moment, but specifically with Nancy and specifically with Zainab and their relationships. And yes, I am focusing on the women in this video because one big theme in my channel and on my channel is, you know, we talk about a lot of things regarding feminine energy, feminine essence, and, you know, self-development for women. And a lot of that is taking accountability, taking responsibility, personal responsibility for your actions and for, you know, the place that you are at in your life. And it's very easy for a lot of women to like blame the men in their life for why the relationships didn't work out, why the relationships ended the way that they ended, and, you know, why things happened the way that they did. But I am somebody that I always like to like look back at, like, as a woman, how did I show up in the relationship? How did I conduct myself? What was it? Not to say that everything is your fault, because we already know like that's not true, but how did you aid in basically the downfall of the relationship? And I feel like that's a fair question to like reflect upon as a woman. And I feel like in Nancy's case, obviously we know that Bartise was an ASS. We know that she was very honest. She was very real and raw. You know, from day one, she was very like sweet and caring and accepting. I mean, she's a great girl, but she did herself a big disservice because she thought that, you know, that I don't know. I don't know what she thought, but that was not going to be enough for this man to want her and to fall in love with her and to be as in love with her as he needed to be in order to overlook all of the other, you know, reasons why they were not compatible and reasons why they were not a match, a good match, I should say. And I guess I kind of feel like Nancy had this idea of like, oh, I love conquers all. Like, you know, I love you, I accept you, you should love me and accept me. Because why? Because that's what people do. That's what the right thing is to do. Like, I feel like Nancy has like a very like mindset where she kind of like is a little bit delusional, like a little bit. And she wasn't seeing things for what they truly were. Like, she wanted it to be something that it wasn't. And the truth of the matter is that Bartise just did not want her. And I'm saying this way too late. Obviously, there are spoiler alerts in this video because I've already watched everything. I'm not going to hold back. So if you have not caught up on season 3, don't watch this video because it's going to spoil things for you. I know that this is kind of late, but there you go. There's the disclaimer, okay? I'll try and put something on the thumbnail so that people know, but back to what I was talking about. So, you know, Bartise was not, you know, for her, and he let it be known that, you know, physically she's not his type, and, you know, that's just what it was. He disrespected her literally in front of the entire world, not even the nation, not even just our country, literally the entire world, because Netflix is worldwide, okay? And just the simple fact that, like, you know, she's such a great girl, she's such an accomplished woman, and, you know, just has such a kind heart, open heart, but she was just very like delusional, I think, and wanted the situation to be something that it wasn't. I think she even tried to kind of like manipulate it a little bit, to try to get him to say yes on the wedding day, which is a very desperate move. And I just feel like she kind of came off really desperate, you know, in that relationship, which is really unfortunate, again, because she is so beautiful and so accomplished. And there's so many men out there that would honestly feel lucky to be with a woman like Nancy. So it was just really, really unfortunate. As for Zay, and she's my girl, so I call her Zay. Like, in my mind, obviously, and to you guys, I can call her Zay. But it was just really, really sad how she kind of let the comments and the different things that Cole said to her let her ruin her self-esteem and how she felt about herself. And I also want to apologize, guys, for my hiccups. I'm trying to get through the video and just kind of like work with it, but you'll have to excuse the hiccups and just hear me for what I'm saying. Yeah, as for Zainab and Cole, like that was something that I really did not like. I mean, again, Zainab is a really beautiful girl, really accomplished woman, and again, like a lot of men would be lucky to be with her. But you know, I think that we just have like we get in these relationships sometimes, or we start seeing these guys that are like not really, they're not there, like they're not at our level, they're not really seeing us, you know, the way that we truly are, which is obviously like goddesses. I mean, you know, wife me up today like type of women. A lot of us are like that, and I know that because a lot of my friends are in the same boat as me. I know that. And so I see that in Nancy and I see that in Zainab, you know, and obviously nobody's perfect. I'm not saying that they're perfect, but I am saying that, you know, I do believe that they are ready for marriage, obviously to the right people. But just, it just stinks that it was such a bad reflection, like on them, the partners that they chose in the experiment. And unfortunately, like that was something that, you know, kind of made them not look the best in the best light. I really do wish that they would have adopted more of like a deep D mindset, a deep D mentality, because like I mentioned before, Deep D, she just conducted herself with so much grace and just really, really handled the situation well when she was with Shake and all of the things went down with him. Very similar things, you know, just talking about her behind her back, talking about how she wasn't his type, her looks, like bringing her down about her looks, all different types of things like that. So gaslighting her, all that type of stuff. I mean, very, very similar things that happened again in the third season. And so I wish that those girls had a deep D, more of like a deep D mentality and a deep D kind of like approach to it. Because one thing about deep D is that girl loves herself. Like she demonstrated self-love all throughout the entire season and in the reunion, and just in how she's conducted herself on social media. I mean, she's just been consistent all the way through. Obviously, now she is like writing her book and she was a fan favorite, all of those things. Or I think she already wrote her book. But either way, you know, she's a fan favorite, all of those things. So that is something that I really loved about her. And I am calling it deep D mindset, deep D mentality. And I kind of wished that the girls would have had more of that. As for Raven, I'm not really a big, this is gonna sound so bad, but I am not a fan of Nigerian men, period. I mean, I know there's some good ones out there. Like I can't write off an entire race of people or entire ethnicity of people, but I can say that for the most part, I'm not really sure about SK for her. I don't know if that relationship is gonna go the distance. I hope, obviously, for both of their sakes that it does, but I do really like Raven. I really have grown to like her as I was watching. She wasn't really my favorite in the beginning, but the more that I kind of like got to see about her, understand her personality a little bit better, you know, she's not as open as some of the other girls. She's kind of like, you know, tougher exterior, but like still really sweet on the inside and things like that. Once you kind of like earn her approval and her trust, I feel like that's what I get from her personally. But I feel also that she should not be in that relationship. I really feel like she should have moved on after SK said no to her at the altar. I just feel like it was a bad move, and like I just feel like he doesn't really know what he wants. I think he's getting a lot of pressure to get married, and He did the show for, you know, obviously that reason and maybe even some of his own. But just his whole perception of like what traditionalism is and what like a modern relationship is, and like what he kept saying he liked about Raven, and like, oh, I like that she's, you know, independent and this and that and blah blah blah. Like, I think that that is something that is going to serve him for the time being, because he is a student and he is going to be living in a different state. So for the time right now, I think that that type of a woman does serve him. But you can just tell, and especially with what I already know about the Nigerian culture, and obviously we saw the scene with her talking to the moms, or her mom, his mom, I should say, and the lady at the dress shop, and his sister. You know, Nigerian culture is absolutely very much traditional when it comes to marriage, when it comes to the expectation on the men, on the women, you know, men being the providers and protectors, women being, you know, very much involved with the children in the home, and like letting their man be the man, all of those things. And with as much as they talked about how they were going to be traditional, you know, you saw that like that was something that was very, very embedded in his life and his upbringing, and like the culture that he's coming from. And even with what he said at the end, after he said no to her, that he was expecting her to like move with him, even though he's going to be moving to a whole different state just to become a student, having absolutely like no income or very little income, you know, in a whole new state that's expensive as heck from where they're coming from in Dallas, Texas, to go all the way to California. I mean, that's a big deal, a big ask. And somebody, my personal opinion, any man that's in that situation is not ready to get married. Go ahead and finish school. It's amazing. You're going to Berkeley. Awesome. Go ahead and finish school, and then talk about marriage. Then figure out, you know, what your next career move is going to be. Get established with that, and then talk about marriage. You don't become a husband and then just like uproot, you know, your whole self and your wife and everything, unless it was agreed upon like way prior or something like that. Some people are into the whole like, oh, you go to school and like do your thing, and then I'll, you know, support us, and then like I'll go back to school and do my thing, and you'll support us, and then we'll do life, you know, do our careers together and things like that. Some people are into that. So if that's, you know, what you have already spoken about, great, fine. But that's not something that like this girl signed up for, you know what I mean? And just because she's gonna marry you doesn't mean that, you know, she needs to like uproot her whole life to like move with you, especially if she doesn't consider herself to be traditional. Because to me, that is something that a traditional woman would absolutely be going for. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna be the one who's providing, you know, majority of what we need to sustain ourselves as a family. You know, financially, you're going to be the provider. So, of course, a traditional woman with a traditional mentality and wanting a traditional marriage would be great to like move across the country with you and, you know, support you while you're going to school, be there with you, all of those things. But someone or a woman who considers herself to be more modern is not going to do that, because if you're talking about how you love how independent she is, and you want, you know, somebody who's going to be a quote unquote equal partner with you when it comes to the finances and things like that, career wise and whatnot, then her career should be just as important as your career. Therefore, she's not going to uproot all of her stuff and everything that she's worked hard for just to go support you wherever it is y'all are going to you're going to for school or whatever, a job or whatever. Same thing with a job. Like this in this instance, it's school. If you get a job opportunity, you know, in another state, and you want to relocate and, you know, bring your family with you, uproot your family, a traditional woman is going to be okay with that, because again, you are the breadwinner. Obviously, depending on other factors, it may not be her first choice, but you know, odds are a traditional minded woman who's in a traditional marriage would be more open to that than a woman who's more, you know, modern, in the sense that, you know, they see themselves as a equal when it comes to, you know, in terms of their career and things like that. They don't necessarily see their husband as the provider protector type. They see him as a 50-50 partner equal. So that kind of a woman is going to be probably like more resistant to that kind of a thing, you know, and uprooting her life and her family and all of those things for your job, XYZ ABC. So all that to say, I feel like they have very misaligned viewpoints. I feel like they are not truly on the same page, maybe as much as they think. I think that it helps that it's long distance because they're not getting the full effect of like what it's like to really be in a relationship 24/7 with this person. Plus they met and got engaged obviously really fast due to the nature of the show and the experiment. So in a nutshell, that is my thoughts on the Raven and SK situation. Again, I don't wish any negativity or any bad things on them, but those are just my personal opinions on their relationship. I think they're great people. I just don't think that they are in alignment, especially with the things that, you know, I love to talk about on my channel and that I'm kind of a nerd about when it comes to feminine energy, feminine essence, and just kind of polarity when it comes to relationships with that masculine and that feminine pole, and how you need that in order to have attraction in relationships. I feel like with Zenab and Cole and with Nancy and Bartiz, a big factor in my personal belief why they did not work out is also the age difference. Clearly there was like a 4 to 5 year, even 6 years, I think, between Nancy and Bartiz age gap between them, where the women were significantly older. And to me, it's significant just for the simple fact that, you know, it is true what we heard growing up, like women do mature faster than men. We do mature at a much quicker rate. And you know, even like with being with a man your same age, you are more mature, you are older than him, technically speaking, because again, we not only mature faster mentally, physically we mature faster, we age quicker than men, okay? Spiritually, we're ahead of men. All of these different ways, we are ahead of men when we're talking about our peers as far as age group goes, physical age. And that's why I personally, I've always felt, and don't hold this against me, okay, guys? But I've always felt that, you know, it is beneficial for women to date and marry older, and you know, at anywhere from like 5 years minimum, you know. But even if it's a year or 2 years, 3 years, that's better than nothing, obviously. But I feel like if you're with somebody who's your same age or younger, it's going to be really hard for you to um give that man what he truly needs in that marriage. You are basically gonna have to, it's not impossible obviously, but you are basically gonna have to you're gonna have to change. You're gonna have to be a lot more intentional and purposeful with how you show up in that relationship in order to make sure that he feels seen and heard and respected. And you know, that's up to the woman. I personally don't feel like that's something that I would be willing to, you know, do, because I just want to feel, you know, at ease and just be myself in my relationship. I don't want to feel like I can't say something to my husband because he's going to feel like I'm correcting him all the time, you know. And like, especially at this point now, like being with men that are significant, like not even that significant, but you get what I'm saying, like several years older than me, I can say something and it can be, you know, it feels more like a peer-to-peer kind of a conversation, you know, when we do talk about things, because it's not like, oh, I know more than you because I'm telling you this, that, and the third. So now, you know, you're not getting an attitude with me, or you're getting an attitude with me because I said what I said and blah, 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 blah. Which a lot of the times would happen with me with men my same age, or they would just like literally not even really know like what I was talking about or have any type of response when I would, you know, just be sharing my thoughts on a particular topic or subject. And you know, maybe it's too deep for them. I personally never felt like I was getting deep, but I just could tell like there was a mismatch there. Whereas men that are a little bit older than me, you know, it's more of a conversation, more of a dialogue where it's like, oh, I see what you're saying. You know, it's like more peer-to-peer. It's not a threat. It's not, I'm telling you, you know, what you need to do and how you need to think, and I'm giving you this information because you didn't know it before. It's like, here, I'm offering like, you know, a different viewpoint. What do you think about this? And then they can share with me, and then I can learn from them, and they can learn from me. XYZ, ABC, we're all just kind of like having this beautiful conversation and beautiful, you know, everything. It's a lot easier, and I just feel like, you know, not to say that that's never happened with men that are closer to my age. I have had great conversations with men that are closer to my age as well. And, you know, I do feel like it is possible. Obviously, maturity level can vary between ages, but I do think that that is a big reason why Nancy and Bartice never made it. And definitely Cole and Zeneb. Zeneb repeatedly, you know, kind of was just like talking down to Cole and just like, you know, making little remarks and kind of like cutting him down, you know, just because he was doing things differently, you know, as far as cooking goes or keeping the house clean. And, you know, fair enough. Yes, okay, there are some messy men out there. We know, ladies, that like, you know, when it comes to the house, that's a lot of us, like, we take that kind of like as our domain. We want things to be a particular way and things like that. But I think Zenab, you know, she just kind of, it was just kind of like emasculating the way that she would speak to Cole sometimes. And because of the age difference, that really sticks out. You know, especially for men, I feel like when you already have that age difference, when you start talking to them like that, oh my gosh, like it literally, it cuts like a knife. Like it is so bad. So, you know, whereas if you do have a couple years age difference, it's a little bit of a different dynamic. And I'm speaking generally here. I don't have all the answers. I'm just speaking generally from what I've seen, from what I've experienced, and from what I've learned and observed. But I noticed that definitely in the show. Obviously, I wish them all well. I hope that they all find somebody. I do not believe that, you know, they are for each other, any of those couples that I mentioned. However, you know, we'll see what happens. And, you know, I do want to go back to like the deep D mentality and just kind of the whole premise of this video of just not wanting men that do not want you. Like, if it has been made clear, you've heard, you know, comments said, you heard things, you know, come out of their mouth that have just let you know that like they are willing to be with you, but they don't really want you like that. They don't want to marry you. They don't want to be in a serious relationship with you. They're not willing to basically give you the things that you want out of that relationship. Cut it off, cut it off, cut it off. Like, say no. Continue to keep your class, continue to keep your dignity. Remember, deep D mindset, and just move on, you know, with ease and grace, and just your beauty, your dignity, all of those things, because it is not worth it. It is absolutely the most embarrassing thing, and I can honestly speak to that from my personal experience, you know, too. I mean, definitely nothing as bad as like reality television, okay? I'll say that. But I'll say also, like, for Nancy and for Raven and for you know, I keep blanking on her name. Oh my gosh. Zeneb, for either the man to say no to you at the altar or for you to have to say no at the altar, you know, for things to kind of end at that point after, you know, so many different things have kind of went down. Now, I will say in Raven and SK's situation, that was a different situation. We were not expecting all of that to go down the way that it did. But I can say for Nancy and Zeneb's situation, those men completely disrespected them multiple times, and they should have never even continued those relationships. They should have been the ones to say no at the altar. At least Zenab did. Nancy did not. But, you know, Zenab should have nipped things in the bud way quicker and kind of like set that precipice earlier on, instead of allowing Cole to like kind of just get back in her good graces, I should say. Nancy, I do feel like she was kind of delusional a little bit. She tried to kind of manipulate with her kindness, you know, Bartiz into saying yes. And of course, we see that it did not work. And now she's still like trying to be like the nice girl or whatever and be like cordial and things like that with him. I just feel like there's absolutely no need for that. Call me whatever you want to call me. But I just feel like at that point, cut the whole thing off. Like, you literally made it to the altar with this person and it still didn't work out. Whether they said no or you said no, I just feel like that's a done deal and it's a wrap. I already went into detail talking about SK and Raven, but I just wanted to go back to, you know, deep D mindset, deep D mentality, and just kind of understanding your self-love, your self-worth, and, you know, just the fact that you just like anybody who is willing to disrespect you, you know, in any way, shape, or form, you know, whether it be the first time, multiple times, hopefully the first time, you can see it, check it, and have that boundary there. And then at that point, they need to do a lot to be able to make things up to you in order for them to even be able to get back to where they were and be able to see you, experience your vibe, your energy, experience being in your presence, you know, get all of the good things that you have to offer, because it is that deep, it is that serious, and it does affect you that much. And so that's what I love about Deep D. Like, she's all about the self-love, and I feel like in that show, that is what made her such a fan favorite, and that's why she's had so much success, I think, after Love is Blind season 2, because she made the decision that she made. Obviously, nobody is perfect, but you know, just the way that she carried herself, she could have made things a lot more dramatic than she did, and she did not. You know, she carried herself with a lot of grace and a lot of, you know, respect, self-respect, and self-love, which I highly, highly respect. You know, we talk all about that on this channel. So I just wanted to kind of like come on here and share this message with you guys. Do not want men who do not want you. They may not say that verbatim, but listen to all of the other things that they say, that they tell you, that you're not their type physically, that they don't want the same things that you want, that, you know, they're not willing to go through the links that you need them to go through in order for, you know, you all to be together. XYZ ABC. There's so many different, you know, ways that this can show up. I want to just encourage you to listen and to really be open and listen the first time, and do not try to, you know, create stories in your head or piece things together, as women often do, because we do care deeply and we do want, you know, relationships to work out. We are the ones who, you know, nurture and like basically have the domain of relationships. You know, it's in us, it's embedded in our souls and our hearts and our spirits. This is what we're made to do, you know, nurture relationships, create relationships, and, you know, just thrive in relationships, and, you know, make them better. And I think that, you know, a lot of women do get caught up in that. And I just want to encourage you that if a man does not want you, he does not see himself with you, he does not see himself be able to do the things that he needs to do in order to be with you, he is letting you know that he does not really want you. He wants you under his own, whatever, circumstances, or his own, you know, I guess I should say his own terms, okay? And that's not a man that really wants you, okay? So I encourage you to, you know, be strong, love yourself enough to not accept that, and just, you know, keep that hope, keep that faith that you will attract and you will meet the right man, the man that, you know, you are, you know, praying for, yearning for, hoping for in your heart, who wants the same things that you want, who, you know, sees you just the way that you see yourself, as a confident, self-assured, you know, woman who is amazing, who loves herself, who is happy and vibrant, and just, you know, full of just beautiful feminine energy, feminine essence, and living in her true authenticity, which we always talk about on this channel. And I want that for you. I want that for me. I want that for all of us. I want that for all of the women in my life. And that is why I continue to make these videos and just try to spread this message the best that I can. So I hope that you enjoyed this one. I'm gonna love you and leave you on that note. I know this was a long one. Hope it was a good one. Stay blessed, stay encouraged, ladies, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.